Hello my friends, LaRuffa here with another straight up solo, and in this episode we are going to take a look at Shipwrights of the North Kingdom Redux. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really appreciate that, and if you have already done so, thank you so much for that support. So I'll jump in. Of course, I'm always showing a game solo, but this game, even if you're playing multiplayer, is very much a solo game no matter what, because the only real interaction you have is the card drafting and also a little bit of whoever's in the lead on this track over there to gain these specific heroes. So anyway, I played through 2 of 5 rounds, and the basic gist of this game is you are trying to build these kind of boats, and when you build them, you're going to score a bunch of points, plus you're going to move up on these tracks, which might get you certain cards. Those cards can help you do other things, etc., etc. But the big, I guess, chunk of the game is actually drafting and utilizing and playing these village cards over here. And those, as you can see, there are plenty of them. You're going to have 6 of those to choose to work with every single round. And when you use those, you can either, as usual, discard, I say as usual, but because this game shares a lot of the similar things from Garfield games, you could discard them immediately when you get them for a resource. Once they're on here, they can't be discarded for a resource. So you just discard them. You can somehow play them in different ways to be able to activate their abilities or use a spot down here for workers. And then you can also tuck them under these kinds of cards right here, like you could see where it will enhance something. So you've got these different things going on with the cards, and the cost is in the upper left and what you get is in the upper right. And it's very much like Legacy of You or some other of these games that we've played in the past. So people who are familiar with Garfield games will definitely feel at home with this one. And what I would say here is this game is a fairly, I'd say it's medium light. It's not light, it's medium light. And it is a good introduction or a fast-paced game if you like this kind of thing from a standpoint of different games that Mr. Shem has made up before. All right, so let me demonstrate it, and then I'll tell you what I think of it more. So like I said, we are now in round 3 of 5. The first thing you're going to do is flip over this little card here, and this card is going to tell you the trade rate for all the various resources. If I wanted to buy wood, it'd be 2 coins. If I wanted to buy sheep, it's 3. And if I wanted to buy rock or iron or whatever it was, it's 2. And then up here, you move the solo or neutral opponent up specific space on this track depending on what we have. And I have to put this back, by the way. At the end of the last round, I did not gain any of those hero cards, so I would just get the default hero card. Okay, and also the solo opponent will score the points in the upper right at the end of the game, and he'll also score if he is over here on any of these tracks. That's not going to happen unless you play with some of these difficulty enhancing cards, so to speak, which will get them off to a very strong start and also make it difficult for you, making some action a little bit more expensive or a little bit harder or whatever. All right, so that is really it. From a solo standpoint, the only thing that they're doing is moving up on these tracks, and then they're going to be scoring those points at the end. So extremely easy to manage the solo mode compared to some of the other games that are really some of my favorites, like Scholars of the South Tigris, one of my absolute favorite games, period. Tough to learn that solo mode, but once you do, it's worth it. Here, complete opposite, very easy to play the solo. Okay, so we have flipped the card over. Now we do the draft. And in the solo game, you're going to deal out 5 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 cards, 1, 2, 3. And from each of these, you're going to choose 2 cards and discard the rest. And that is the draft. And I like the way that works because it's very simple and quick and is not very fiddly. It's very simple to deal these out and then make a choice. So out of these, I have some ships already kind of in the queue to build, and I have at least this one artisan which I can either hire later or I can play. Actually, no, once you put them up here, you don't hire them later. They're a one and done. All right, either I have to hire them for my hand at the time, or I put them out there to use once and only once. And the artist, well, this guy isn't actually an artisan, but these craft guys are going to provide these symbols here, like this one and this one, which would cost me 1 silver to use. And I have to have that symbol on deck in order to build these types of ships. So I need the anvil symbol over here, which is why I put him up there. But this card and this card and this card all can be supplied from this over here, which I've permanently put it under this card by tucking a gold under it. And so there's a little bit of that. Do I want to pay an extra amount to keep the card available for me for the whole time, or do I want to just use the card sort of for free as it is by just putting it in this limited queue? Okay, so what do I have here? Well, I've got another ship. I have a lot of ships, so I don't think I'm going to put another one out right now. This guy I could tuck for a gold and get those things this at the end and these immediately, which could be good because I want to try to win on this track in order to get the types of heroes. So sometimes it's good to do that. Either way, he gives me a gold, which I'm a little bit short on, so I'm going to save him. All right, here's another type of ship. I don't have a lot of spaces left, but that would be a good one to build if I did. And so these are all different ships that are good, but they all get a lot of points. But I don't think I'm going to be able to bite off so much. So what do I really need to when I discard them? Well, the ore is important right now. And so I'll keep that card. I'll discard the rest. So we go to the next deck here. I've got another craftsman kind of card here. And this one would provide me a symbol. I've already kind of got, so I don't really need that. And then a bunch more ships. What I'm really hoping to do is get some more of these. So I could use some more money, so I'll probably keep that for the money. And I'll also keep this for the money. Discard these two. All right, and then the final hand here. Hopefully I get, oh good. So I get a market hall, which I already have, but that's okay. You can build multiple different buildings, but I'm going to keep that one. And then I'll keep Erickson. And we'll discard this. All right, so here are my 6 cards I'm working with. Now it's time for the action phase, and I'll just kind of put these out here. Okay, so you can kind of see them. So let's see what we're going to do here. Now in the action phase, you could do a whole bunch of stuff with the cards, and you can also play your workers and buy things and spend things, and there's a slew of stuff that you can do. But they're all very focused on trying to either build, these houses or huts or whatever, or boats, or contribute to that in some way, shape, or form. So let us see. Probably the best thing for me to do right now would be to focus on building one of these ships so I can get it off the table, so to speak, and into my scoring area. And doing this would allow me to get a gold every time we have an income at the end of the round, which isn't bad, plus worth 5 points. And I would go up 1 and 1. So that's not so bad. But what I was really kind of pushing for is to try to get this one built. So this would require me to have 2 guys, 4 wood, 3 sheep, and 2 stone, which I have. And then I just have to come up with the artisan symbols, which I also have. So I'm going to build this one right now. So let's spend these 2 guys. Let's spend the 4 wood. Let's spend the 3 sheep and the 2 stone. And it took me several turns to get these. This is the boat I started with, so I've already gone through 2 rounds and I haven't been able to build a ship yet. So this is a pretty big deal to build one. Then it gives me 1 bonus over here, or I should say just moves me up on those tracks. It'll be worth 8 points. And at the end of the game, I'm going to score 1 point for each different type of house, which is including the hut, which is why the market stall was like, oh, crud, I need a different type, not that same one. All right, and then how did I get the stuff here? Well, I got the craftsman symbol over here for free, but this one, I need to spend that silver or coin and discard him. So I've done that, and that's how I pay for those parts of the cost. All right, now it's giving me some more areas to work with, and also unlock some spots where I can put workers. Very similar feel to Legacy of You in that regard. All right, and I still have all these cards to play. So let's see. Based on what I just said, I don't really want another market hall because I want different types from this. So what would be the best thing, I think, is if I could somehow get this off the ground, I would then be able to move my spot up on the raid, and that would give me a raid card, and that could help me to generate more points. So how would I do that? Well, I'm a little shy on, I've got the one guy, I've got this. I need sheep and stone. Well, I get the stone here, so let's discard this. That's one stone. And then I could discard this, and that's another stone. And I need some sheep. Well, so here's the interesting thing. I could play my guy here to get the 2 sheep, but then he's tied up, and I'm not able to use him in this round because of that. So I don't really want to do that. What I'll probably do is I will discard this guy for, actually, this guy right here for a gold. The gold is wild. It's also worth 1 point at the end of the game. If you forget that, you can see it's over here. All right, and then that will give me what I would need to produce this and to make it. And I think I will do that. So I'm going to spend the 1 guy, the 3 wood, the 2 stone, and then the gold to pay for that. And then I have this artisan symbol over here. So we're good to go. What that does is that'll give me a gold during the income round. Now I still have 3 people left. These both, I could decide to keep one if I want to, or both of them really, to try to, have a ship queue to build. And the reason I might want to do that is, to generate a bunch of these symbols over here. Oh, and by the way, the whole reason I did that early, I went up 1 on this, which allows me to draw this card. This is a raid card. What it'll allow me to do is I can spend, depending on my strength, 2, 1, or 0 guys, if I'm all the way up at 10 on the strength chart, to get this and kind of flip it over. So that's nice to have. I don't have any guys, so I can't do that at the moment. All right, I moved that up 1, but I didn't move this up 1. And if you forget what you've done, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I should actually be in the 4th spot. Like I did, I forgot to move that up earlier, and then I always seem to forget to do that. So I'm really right here. So that one will put me over the edge and get me one of these trading cards. And these cards, I can either spend them immediately for the money, or I can tuck them under a ship that I've already built to get this from an income standpoint. So I'm definitely going to tuck this under a ship that I've already built to get that from an income. Okay, so those are kind of cool. And then, because I don't have much else going on, I think I will save this one. It's worth a bunch of points. And then I'll discard this for the 2 silver and discard this for the gold. All right, so what that does is that effectively finishes my round. Now, at the end of the round, we go through income. So I will get a guy, I'll get a wood, and then I'll get a gold. Same iconography as his other games for the income side. And then I'd refresh anything else, bring workers back if I'd use them, which I didn't. So sometimes it's good to say workers because you get them back. And that's always the little tug and pull. Do I spend them or do I utilize them? All right. And then I will see, am I leading in any of these tracks? And I am leading on this one. So I actually will put back this hero and get the trade hero, which allows me at any time of the game to spend 3 coins for a gold. And at the end of the game, if I'm holding this, I get 3 points. All right. So that is, unless I missed any steps, I don't think so. That is a full round of the game. Yep. Reveal the round card, draft the cards, take the actions, gain the income, and distribute the heroes. All right. So you've seen 1/5 of the game, and that's basically what you're doing. Pretty streamlined, pretty straightforward, but interesting ways to try to manipulate the resources. And notice, I was able to build those 2 ships because I had a bunch of resources, and the reason I did that is those first 2 rounds I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to maximize my resources so I could do that. And so that's what you're trying to do, and there's various ways, not only just playing cards, but the interaction and looking at the market, trying to buy when it's cheap instead of buying when it's expensive, all that good stuff. All right, so I think that gives you a good, solid feel about it. Let me tell you what I think about it. Okay, so that is Shipwrights of the North Sea from a solo perspective. And I would say it's a really fun game. It takes I'd say the mechanics that he has perfected over the years in different games, especially Legacy of You and some of the other games where you're trading cards for things and using them, and put it into a nice little package. And it's fun. It's fun to draft the cards to try to see what you need, to try to plan ahead, but yet use those cards in order to provide some resources. The mechanic of using the workers and not spending them is cool, puts a little tension. I need it now, but also if I can sit on them for a little bit and use them to generate things, I can provide a little bit of a synergistic benefit there. And also the market is cool. You know, buy when it's cheaper and try to stockpile at that point if you can in order to prepare for future rounds. All that stuff I think is really good. If you are looking for some amazingly revolutionary style game with a bunch of mechanics that you've never seen before, this is not going to be that type of game. You've already seen these mechanics, but I think they're done well and they're fun from a solo perspective for sure. It's also pretty darn quick. You can absolutely set this game up, play it, and put it away in under 45 minutes with no issues. So I'm enjoying it, and I will continue to enjoy it. If you like what you saw, you're going to do that more. There's not much else that there is to this game at this point. If you thought it was kind of ho-hum, then you're going to probably want to pass on it. But what I will say is this. I used to own Legacy of You. I eventually sold it because the gameplay seemed just not, and I played it 7 or 8 times, so it was good, but I was finished with it. And I think this game seems to take that gameplay and improve upon it, specifically because of the drafting of cards, gives you a little bit more choice than just top decking to see what you get. And also, just in general, I feel like it doesn't feel as punishing, so to speak, since you're trying to beat a score here, but Legacy of You, when you wouldn't win, it was kind of a punishing kind of feel to it, so to speak. So this is just a little bit, I think, more fun. The solo mode is challenging, as usual with every Garfield game. It's challenging to beat that score, so you really have to put your brain to work in order to beat the AI. But as you saw, the AI is basically just a scoring post. That's all it really does. It does not really interact too much with anything else, which is fine, except for the tracks. They move those forward to give you something to compete against. And I think it does that very effectively. And if you really want to, you can throw in those 4 other cards to make things tougher on you and make the solo opponent tougher. And it says in the rulebook, I wouldn't do that right away, and I would agree with it. Get familiar with the game and familiar with the engine and familiar how to maximize things before you start hamstringing yourself. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.